want to support the platform just in case anything like this happens again, you can do it by way of PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and also by the Anchor. And you can also further support the platform by way of going to the Teespring store or the shoe store that is located in the comment section below. Attorneys for Dalvin Gadson, a 29-year-old veteran, are calling for an investigation following the release of a photo of Gadson's bloody face after he was beaten by police officers. According to a Newsone report, the cops were also photographed smiling with bloody knuckles as Gadson laid on the ground. Gadson served in the Army National Guard as a helicopter mechanic and was homeless at the time of the October incident, during which he was pulled over for a traffic stop. The report noted both an improperly displayed license tag and car failure as reasons for the stop. One officer claimed Gadson smelled of marijuana and tried to issue a Dewey test. Gadson was told when he got out of his vehicle he would be handcuffed, so he refused to exit until he was told why he was being arrested. After asking an honest question, Gadson said he was grabbed out of his car. The same police officer immediately started punching me in the face while pulling me out of my car. After the first punch, I tried to say okay, I tried to say sorry, I tried to lay on the ground. But multiple officers were grabbing me, kicking me in the head, kneeing and elbowing me in the face, and punching me everywhere possible. After I was punched several times in the face, I lost consciousness. Law Office of Harry Daniels said Dalvin Gadson was a homeless veteran living out of his car as he worked to re-enlist and continue serving his country, but all these officers saw was a black man and they beat him for it, smiling for the camera as he lay on the ground bleeding. Daniels said, pointing to the pictures. They beat him mercilessly and now he's afraid to go outside and the VA can't see him to treat his injuries and PTSD until January. Gadson received multiple injuries, including injuries to his eye, a ruptured eardrum, and PTSD. He was charged with 2 counts of second-degree assault on a police officer, resisting arrest, obstructing a peace officer, driving under the influence, and driving without license plates. Both charges of second-degree assault on a police officer have been dropped and the Dewey charge was dismissed in a DMV hearing on December 7th. If you want to know specifically more information about this, I'm going to have the GoFundMe linked in the comment description below. I just want to read a part directly from the GoFundMe. It said, it all started Sunday, October 9th, 2022, around 2:30 a.m. I've been homeless for about 3 to 4 months, just sleeping in my car doing DoorDash until my money was saved enough to get an apartment. I was staying at the Springs Rescue Mission, a homeless shelter near downtown Colorado Springs. While sleeping, a stranger, Carlos, knocked on my window and then I had awoken. He asked me if I could take him to his job close by for $20. I needed the money, so I said yes. While driving him to his destination, I was pulled over by the police. I was startled when this happened because I never was pulled over before. I tell the stranger Carlos to relax and that the stop will be over soon. The police officer stepped outside of his vehicle as I rolled down my window to say, hey. When I spoke, he told me to place my hands outside the window, so I did. The officer walked towards the passenger side, his flashlight shining inside my car. He told me I'd been pulled over because my license plate was missing. I told him I needed new screws to affix the plate to the trunk. At the time, I had it inside my car in the back seat. It was in the rear windshield area, but it slid to the seat area without me knowing. He then asked Carlos and for me for identifications. We complied with the officer and showed the identification cards with no hassle. After checking our credentials, 3 or 4 more squad cars came into the scene after 1 or so, and 3 or 4 more officers walked to my car, at this time coming to my driver's side. Without hesitation, they immediately told me I had to take a marijuana DUI test without any probable cause or responsible suspicion, and that I had to get out of my car and they will be detaining me in handcuffs. They told me to get out of my car. I asked them why I had to be detained with handcuffs and test for a DUI. An officer stated that he wouldn't answer my question. He told me again to get out of my car to be detained in handcuffs for investigation of a DUI. So the reason why I wanted to read that is to basically prove the fact that no matter what you do as a black person in America, you will always be subjected to this type of response. Don't matter if you're swimming, don't matter if you're just going to your car, if you're going to your home, you could be visiting your wife, you could be going to the store, you could be going to the pool, you could be walking down the street, you could be watering your grass, you could be working in your own backyard on your own land. And police, for some odd reason, will decide to do this. They will escalate the situation instead of de-escalating the situation. Again, there was no probable cause for them to try to give a DUI test. They didn't state that, oh, he was swerving, ridiculously in both lanes. He was driving on the opposite side. There was nothing stating that, oh, we received, several calls at such and such night in the morning of a car matching your description, saying that you were slurred speech and you were belligerent and you were swerving in and out of traffic, you nearly hit pedestrians and cars and all this. None of that took place, but yet they wanted to try to give him a marijuana test. Why is that? Why would you want to give a black man oh, that's right, I forgot. You assume that all black men that have a certain type of hair, or even without the hairstyle, which is locks, you assume that pretty much all black men smoke marijuana, right? That's pretty much the assumption of cops. Or if we don't smoke it, we're the main ones selling it, right? Or if we're not selling that, we're selling something else, right? Or if we're not doing none of that, we got to be doing something illegal, right? If it's none of that, then this car can't be ours. It has to be stolen. Like it's just a list that pretty much just keeps going and going and going and going. And when you look on the man's GoFundMe, you will see what he had to take directly from the cops. And one of the cops that was there was the main ones that decided that, he wanted to do this to this black man. And people wonder why it is why black people don't, automatically jive with the cops, why we don't really care for, why we don't want them in our communities, why there's a certain type of fear, is because it is. Because they're able to get away and do this. And they'll say that, oh, well, he resisted. Oh, it was because of some suspicion. He bladed his body. He looked like he was in an aggressive stance. He did this. They literally have laws set in place by the government to justify the actions of police whenever it is that they decide to do these things. And pretty much what's going to happen to the cop is nothing. This man is in the hospital, bruised up, not to mention that he might even potentially have some type of brain injuries. He might even have some type of concussion. Like I said, a lot of the injuries that he has suffered specifically to his face, we're not going to see the effects of that at this moment in time. We'll see those later. And no telling on, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, or how badly it will affect him. Or if there's going to be any type of signs or symptoms, it could just instantly happen. And there's nothing he can do about it. And this is what the police get away with and do every single time. And this is the main thing that I keep saying to a lot of the, true Americans directly out here. You guys allow your dogs, you allow your dragons to rampage throughout everybody's land, throughout everybody's village. You train them to do this. So then when these dragons burn down, tear down, annihilate all these villages, burn the land to a cinder, what do you think is going to happen? Those dragons are going to go right back home. Every dragon knows where home is. No matter how far that they go, every animal in existence can pretty much go back to exactly where it is that they were birthed. There's just that type of synchronization that they have with the planet. And due to the fact that you raised them and you taught them, they're going to go right back home to their parents. And everything that you taught them and you allowed them to do, and how far that they've grown and how powerful that they've gotten, there's not going to be anything that you're going to be able to do when they return home and they start inflicting the same exact pain and trauma that they've been inflicting on the black community for so many untold years. When they start to inflict that on you, your family, and your children, and your little dog too, there's going to be nothing that you can do. And I promise you that the greater majority of black people are not going to care. We're not going to try to lift a finger. We're not going to even try to help at all because this is on you. Now, for the ones that want to decide to stand by you and try to protect you and help you, Godspeed. Godspeed. Because not even he will be able to help you when that time comes.